Well, the Utopia Expedition's been out for several weeks. In fact, we're getting down to the end of it, and I thought I'd do a quick review on my experience with the Utopia Expedition, talk a little bit about the update, and just kind of what I thought about the update in general, things I liked about it, things I didn't particularly like about it. This was sort of a unique expedition. It all took place in one solar system. I heard some people online who also do videos for No Man's Sky kind of complain they thought it was like a little bit lazy, was their perspective on the scope of the expedition, since it was all like in one solar system. Essentially in this one you just go around, you build different bases on different worlds, and complete a couple tasks on each of the planets. It was a fairly quick expedition. In fact, I did this on both my accounts, my main account and my secondary already. I would say the expedition was pretty fun. I liked that it was different. It was a little unusual in that you couldn't build outside of your base area, which actually was a little bit annoying at times. I kind of lucked out in my main account playthrough, and I found a base site location where I didn't have to, create my own component to drop. And I was sort of lucky because crafting those actually takes some special resources from copper, chromatic metal I think it is, that you got to mine. So I found myself mining copper all the time on this expedition, and other resources too to build kind of the basic components of your base, which started getting a little annoying. It was very grindy. So that was one of my, I guess, less favorite things about this expedition. I did like a lot of the rewards in this expedition. I thought the Utopia Speeder was a neat ship. Not a lot of customization, but it sort of reminded me of like the Golden Vector once you finish it up. And I liked that this was something different too, a little bit outside of what we had seen before. If you haven't done the expedition, I think you have maybe a week or two left at the point of me making this video. I would say, be cognizant when you're going to fix your ship and stuff that you create a bunch of the parts you'll need before you get over there. That was one thing that kind of helped me out. Fortunately, because I found that extra base site where I didn't have to drop my first base, I guess, well, I don't know what you call it, base computer. I was able to do it over at the ship, and that saved me a lot of traveling back and forth, so I didn't have to go back and get like hermetic seals and things I forgot to fix my ship initially. Overall, though, I thought the expedition was good. I had kind of speculated that there was going to be more to this update than actually was. There was, a couple new things. We got a new helmet too, got a new droid and stuff in that one ship. I'd kind of thought they were going to do the expansion with the exocrafts and have the different styles, as I'd seen some leaked files about that. And I had also seen some individual parts for bases, planetary settlements, rather. And I thought maybe we would be able to customize that more. But that didn't really come through. Lately, I've been watching other people's No Man's Sky video, and I found them talking about the brand new space stations, which are also more customized. So I think there's a lot of stuff that they could put out in future expeditions. So I'm not really worried about like them abandoning No Man's Sky for whatever the new game that they're working on is. And honestly, like, my perspective is a little different than most people's too. I feel like we've had this game since 2016, and I've got lots of value out of it. All these updates have been free. I really have no complaints, and I think like anything they put out is really just gravy on top, because I've already really gotten my value out of this game, and I'm just really grateful that No Man's Sky and Hello Games are as good as they are. So really no complaints. Do I expect some other updates coming out soon that will be neat and add some more, I guess, variety to the game as far as customization for exocrafts and space stations and stuff? Yeah. I don't think they're just doing that in the background in the mind files and stuff for fun. So I expect we're going to get some other pretty cool updates this year. And honestly, like, this is probably going to be an unpopular opinion, but I would really like it if they just put out a paid expansion. I really don't mind giving Holo Games a little bit more of my money. I bought that other game they made not too long ago. Oh gosh, I'm forgetting the name of it now. Hold on, I'll look it up. Oh yeah, The Last Campfire. And I played it a little bit. I mean, it wasn't my favorite thing, but I really just wanted to support Hello Games. So, if they put out like a giant paid expansion, I would definitely pay for it as long as it was like a reasonable price, $30 or whatever, no problem. Just because I like supporting indie game developers who don't do all the microtransactions and the other stuff that I think kind of kills a lot of my desire to get into a game. I'm coming from a place where I've been around for a while. I've played a lot of MMOs. I've played games like Robocraft and Crossout, where like every little expansion they put out was, a $20 to $30 thing for some cosmetic and a slightly different variant of a weapon or something, and it just got really old after a while, and I was just kind of done with it. So that's one of the reasons why I stopped playing Crossout. And Robocraft 2 had the same kind of problem. So games that actually, don't try to screw you over like, Hello Games, basically, I think I should reward and give more of my money to. So anyway, and I'm looking forward to whatever this new game is. I know they've really been working on it, and I'm looking forward to what it could be. Maybe like people say No Man's Sky 2, I hope it is something like that, or some, other exploration style game. Even if it was like more of a fantasy game or something that had, procedurally generated land, I think that would be cool too. Really just whatever it is, I'll probably end up getting it just to support these guys. So anyway, yeah, the gist is just that I'm not disappointed, even though the update was, I think, maybe a little smaller than a lot of other ones we've got in the past. I really don't have anything to complain about, and I enjoyed it overall. And usually I just jump on No Man's Sky a little bit on my main account or some of my alts I've created through the years and just play for like 30-20 minutes. It's just kind of a relaxing game for me. There's other games I've been looking at lately because, let's face it, I've been playing this thing for like 7 years, and so, it's nice to get some change up. So Starfield on September 6th is coming out from Bethesda. I'm like kind of cautiously optimistic about it because, they're a big game company, so microtransactions, all that kind of stuff might be part of their new software. They tried the, what was it? Elder Scrolls Online thing. I never really got into that. It was just a month-to-month subscription. But I think other people enjoyed that game. There's also a game I noticed called Spaceborne 2 that was like made by a small indie company that looks really fun that I saw. I think it was Splattercat or someone like that, who's another YouTube creator talking about. And it looked pretty like interesting. Also recently bought Against the Storm, which is a totally different kind of style of game. It looks like kind of a strategy builder sort of simulation thing. More kind of like, I guess, a Kenshi or RimWorld. So I'll probably be playing that too. I don't know if I'm going to play it on the channel or not. I guess you guys can say if you're interested in seeing Against the Storm on the channel. But that probably will be playing, and then Spaceborne 2, I might pick that up before Starfield comes out. Just as something different, because I have like, gosh, I don't know, like 10 different alts on this main account, and then like one separate account too. So, it's just a little bit much. But I am looking forward to the other expeditions. I'll be playing those whenever they come out. And seeing all the leaks and everything on the space stations and things recently, I'm looking forward to what that will look like. As I know there's a lot of stuff they have been kind of working on for a long time in No Man's Sky. And I wouldn't be surprised if like the big reveal of what they've been working on is some like major expansion for the game instead of like an entirely new game unto itself. But anyway, we will see, I guess, as time progresses. So one of the complaints I had about this expedition, the Utopia Expedition, was that this is all in one system, and the system doesn't have a functioning space station. So there's nowhere, except for like another player's base, where you can actually change your appearance. And so I always start as a pink Vikine on this particular account, and I think this has to do with your name creation for whatever you start with. That's kind of like the seed for your character, because it's pretty similar to when I start on like some of my other alts. It's always like a blue Vikine and a space guy on other people's accounts when they start. So it would have been nice, if there was somewhere that you could just have appearance modifier where it would be easily accessible on this particular mission. Because I played through pretty much most of this campaign as this pink Vikine thing, which I already have a pink Vikine. So I wanted to try to switch it up for something different. And, you know you can change all your settings now and stuff before you even start a game, which is kind of one of the new features in this Utopia Expedition. But it'd be great if you could also just customize your character before you actually, populate on a brand new game account. And it seems like it would be fairly easy to do something like that, so you don't have to run around as some weird concoction of whatever your name seeded into the universe. But anyway, small gripe, because I do eventually, get my helmet and build a appearance modifier here. One thing I like recently that they did is on these solar panels, they basically don't need to be wired as long as they're touching part of one of those bigger base modules. If you're still building out of wood like this, you do have to run your wires still. But in these other ones over here, you're pretty much instantly running your power, which is nice. All right, so anyway, I'm probably not going to play or show the entire playthrough of this because, there's like a zillion of those probably, speed runs and all that kind of stuff. So I'm probably get to more of the highlights here in a second and then show off like the Utopia speeder on my main account. And one of my favorite things about this Utopia Expedition was the addition of new ship slots, and I didn't really hear a lot of people talk about that, but for people who've been playing for a while, we've been stuck with 9, and it's pretty easy if you play one count a lot to fill up on interesting ships you like. So now with those extra 3, you can throw the Utopia speeder as one of those slots, so it's really 2 extra slots. But that's nice, so you have a couple slots if you wanted to go salvage ships you find crashed on a planet, or just add to your collection. So I like that a lot about this update. It's probably my favorite thing about this update in general. I would say my least favorite thing about the update so far is the invisible force fields they stuck around different characters. Actually, I had fun like in the space station sometimes, just going over and like sitting on someone who was AFK. And I think that makes it kind of impossible. So also watching some other people who could basically like block hallways and stuff like that with these new invisible force fields. So not really sure why they implemented that, but kind of a head scratcher for me on that particular part. But pretty much everything else about this update was good. I know they fixed a lot of crashes, and I really haven't had too many issues with No Man's Sky crashing or anything on me. So I think it's probably more for people playing on console. As far as things I'd like to see in upcoming updates, pretty much not much has changed since last time I talked about No Man's Sky. A lot of the customization stuff for exocrafts would be neat, I think. Adding some for settlements would also be really cool. And now that I'm seeing some of the leaks too for the different types of space stations, I think that would be neat. I also thought it'd be cool if you could build like a settlement on a space station. Maybe they had a couple different slots for different players to build like a little base in a branch off the space station. I just always thought that would be kind of neat, especially if you have a solar system that you like a lot. Maybe you could have a space station built on to like annex the main space station. So yeah, that's pretty cool. This is one part of the Utopia mission that kind of perplexed me. Like I was up on top of this volcano and it didn't count it as like reaching the summit. I guess you actually have to touch the lava to get credit. So yeah, go dip your feet in the super hot lava and hope to not die. But fortunately I didn't die. I saw some other people who play online killing themselves in this part. I made sure not to be in my exocraft because I've noticed that like if you have low hit points on your exocraft or haven't built it out and your exocraft goes down, well, you die too, even if you would have survived outside. So a little tip for you, jump out of your exocraft if you're going to go dangle your feet in the lava for this part. Anyway, so that is just the first 2 phases. I think I'm going to skip ahead a little bit here now and we'll jump into like something from phase 3 that I enjoyed. So on this particular planet, it was like all hostile sentinels everywhere. So it was pretty much me trying to run away from sentinels the whole time so I wouldn't have to get into a big battle or hide from them. So on this part, this guy was like relentless. He was just hunting me down and was trying to go in circles and kind of get away from him, but he kept finding me. And I did have a place tracked down to build my base. But I couldn't really get a free moment away from the sentinels, and I didn't really have a great built-out weapon on the expedition, so I was like, okay, let's just hide. So I decided to dig a hole here And it was kind of neat because like I drop into a pretty cave, a pretty good sized cave tunnel. So I decided, well, this will probably be a good answer to the problem. So on expedition, or the third part of the expedition, recommend just building underground in one of these caves, as it will save you a lot of time and you stay away from the sentinels that way. I've also seen other people like build underwater, which is good, though I don't remember if this planet actually had water on it. I don't think it did, but that works. I've tried building up high, so you can build like a space station or a floating base too to stay away from the sentinels. But yeah, this was definitely one of the most annoying parts, I guess, of the expedition, is just like getting away from all the sentinels. But the end result ended up pretty good, as it was kind of fun building the underground base here and just taking a snap. Nice thing is no ceiling required when you're in a cave, right? You already have climate control in the cave. So this is my main base on the first planet, and I finally got enough resources put up for the appearance modifier, which was nice. So anyway, I think I called this thing like, I don't know if it was Grand Cavern or something like Cabin by the Cavern. I don't know. It was something like that. But if you're looking for a place to change your appearance, you can always hit up my base. But I'm sure a lot of other people probably have the same thing, as that was a problem on this expedition. Anyway, so I got the new helmet on, the Darth Vaderette, or like I like to say, the Lord Helmet from Spaceballs looking helmet. And I think other people made other comparisons, but it's still a neat addition. I like anything that adds a little customization to the game. So it would be neat if you could use a helmet on some of the different races, like Korvax and stuff too. Would be neat for that particular helmet. But I know right now it's just like anomaly only. No travelers, no Gek, nothing like that unless you glitch. So anyway, yeah, pretty fun expedition. I think everybody got a hauler on this one. I don't think it was like a random ship. And it seems like mine's always named the Floating Sun, because I've seen that several different times. So that might be another thing generated off a name seed. Not 100%, but I think I've had the Floating Sun before. Anyway, yeah, so that is the last little leg here of the journey that you're seeing on Phase 5. So I finished the expedition, got all the little goodies, did it a couple of times. It really didn't take that long on this expedition. If you're playing casually, you can get through it in like 3 to 5 hours, I would think. And if you're speed running, I don't know. I haven't watched anybody speed run, so I'm not a huge fan of it, but I'm sure you can get through pretty quickly on this one. As long as you make sure to build all the pieces you need at your base, it's really not too difficult to get through. So there we go. I got the Utopia Dignitary title and a couple other fun ones. I think I'd go with like Hunter Killer for my little placeholder. This will be another guy stick in one of my save files. I have a ton of save files now because I never really delete any of the expedition files now, for the most part. Just kind of keep them in case I want to play something different than my main, which is pretty much, complete. Or for the most part, I guess I have a couple new slit ship slots, can't speak, that I can fill up now and work on crafting and making S-Class and tricked out. So especially with the Utopia speeder and stuff too. So I'll probably get that on my different accounts. Here's me on my Utopia account with my pet I picked up, Utopian speeder, new helmet and stuff like that here on the Galactic Hub. So yeah, fun expedition. There's my little cabin down here. If you guys are on the expedition currently, you might be able to find it. I think a lot of these bases are shared amongst other people. But this was on the first planet, which I think was probably my favorite planet out of all the 5 different ones we went to on this expedition. Second favorite looking planet was probably the one where I did the underground base, but that was also one of the most annoying planets since the sentinels were all over the place and the topography was all mountainous, so it's like hard to get anywhere. But yeah, pretty fun expedition overall. I wouldn't say it's in my top 5 though. This is probably more, near the bottom of the list as far as fun overall and which ones I've enjoyed the most. Leviathan was pretty good. That one was hard. That might be, kind of more near the top of the list for sure. But yeah, definitely worth doing, especially for the rewards being really good. So on the main account, I picked up the Utopia speeder, the new helmet, a bunch of the new posters and decals and stuff, and tricked it out. I already had an infra knife on the Utopia speeder, so I just, increased that a little bit, put some missiles on it. You don't really need much on this game as far as, being a challenge against space pirates and stuff. This game is pretty easy. Like I've said in other videos, you really don't even need to worry about upgrading your ship too much. Like a C-class can get through the whole game, no problem. And this isn't really a player versus player game, so it's not really a lot of reason except just for fun to upgrade a ship to S. But yeah, I did find some other cool ships. I'm on a planet called Shrew here, and this Explorer, I haven't really noticed this wing style until like recently in the last couple updates. But I thought this one looked kind of neat, even though it's yellow. Yellow's not really one of my favorite colors, but I don't mind it. It's just not my favorite. Anyway, sort of like the ship, so I figured I'd fix it up. I was thinking, maybe scrapping it, but I think I'm going to end up keeping it and just upgrading it and all that kind of good stuff too, just because it looks neat. And Explorers, they're pretty useful, and I mean, they do enough damage where you can get around and not have any problems with enemies anyway in this game. Like I said, it's very easy, so having the extra warp drive extension is probably worth more than having like guns that do, multiples of damage to enemies. Unless you just get annoyed by space pirate fights and you want them all to die in one hit. But you can still do pretty well with one of these Explorers, even though it's got like nerf damage output. So anyway, just spending some of the nanites I've been saving up here to upgrade the class on it. And I also picked up another duplicate of one of my exotics, which I'll probably end up flying around most of the time, just so I have something to trade if I find a ship I like even more. Found a really cool Raza style ship with like the droid in it too for my alt account, which I won't show probably on this video, but I usually don't go for those kind of ships, but I liked it because it was so small and had the droid in it, so I picked that up for my alt too recently. But anyway, that's pretty much it for No Man's Sky. I appreciate you guys checking out my video, and I'll see you next time here on the Gamer Guide channel. Take care.